everyone. Hello, Dr. G.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, Rachel.
Hello, beautiful.
Yes, we are streaming live on Facebook via the fabulous tool Zoom. Everyone has been Zooming since what, about March now?
Yeah.
We're Zooming. Okay.
It's like secondhand nature.
You should be able to put it on your resume, right? Okay. We're gonna see if some people join us. Let's see.
Hey, LaShondra.
Hey, LaShondra.
Yeah, LaShondra White.
Sandra.
Trying to prop this up so I won't have to look down so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. So they're loving our shirts already, Dr. G.
Hey, Leslie.
Yeah, hey, Leslie. All righty. We're going to discuss imposter syndrome because, you know, it affects nobody, right?
Exactly.
Right? Yes. So we're going to discuss imposter syndrome. I am Nicole Smith, CEO and founder of JMS Creative Leadership Solutions. I am a leadership development and coaching practice. I'm a certified professional life coach, certified emotional intelligence coach. I facilitate, I speak, I'm an author, but I am also joined by two dynamic women that I'm going to allow them to share their talent and their expertise. So let's start with Mrs. Rachel Noble.
Thank you so much, Nicole. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much for just inviting me to your friends, your followers, your fans, and just being a part of this platform this evening. Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel Noble, and I am the founder of She's Ready Inc., which is a platform specifically for women to help them build their businesses. We focus on operational strength of our businesses, advertising, as well as marketing and leadership. So focusing on you, yes, as the leader of your business. I have a background of almost 18 years this April of having my own childcare center that I do share with my husband. And we also have a food truck here in Charlotte. So if you haven't been there yet, it's Gourmet Eatz. Check that out a little bit later on and get you some good food as well.
Yummy.
Yes, I love women. I love business, all that. I'm a wife, mommy, friend, business coach, speaker. I want to be a wannabe author.
We're going to work on that next.
Right,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So joining us also to discuss a very topic that's near and dear to all of our hearts, imposter syndrome, we have Dr. G.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I am Dr. Geleana Drew Alston. I am the CEO and founder of Alston Educational Group. And we help you push through your tensions to identify and prosperous solutions for whatever you're going through. Specifically, I serve as a project evaluator for a variety of educational entities. Tonight, while I am not representing my professional space during the day, I am an associate professor in the Department of Leadership Studies and Adult Education at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I am a newbie when it comes to this thing called entrepreneurship. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about why I still feel like I'm a newbie, especially when I am amongst these queens, right? I have learned so much from them, and I'm gonna continue to learn and absorb as much as I can from them because they are awesome. But something that is near and dear to me is helping other women who look like me aspire, especially within the academy. And my particular focus places emphasis on faculty development as well as leadership development and career progression. So I could talk about myself probably longer than I should.
Yes.
But I want us to, go ahead, and you want me to go ahead and get into it, Nicole?
Well, let's start everybody understanding just the definition of imposter syndrome, and then we're just going to dive in. But what I want to let the audience know is that this is a casual conversation. Yes, we are going to give facts. We may give some stats. Yes, we have drinks of choice. But this imposter syndrome is real, and everyone feels it. They just don't know how to label it. And like I said, my friends, I am into emotional intelligence, and the feelings that you have from imposter syndrome, you need to process those feelings. You need to feel it, okay? Because that is the only way that you're going to now overcome it once you know what it is. So I want to start with the definition, and I want to let everybody know the definition is, I'm going to literally read it because it was coined by psychologist Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes in 1978. Rachel, Dr. G, 1978, it was coined, okay? Absolutely. So it's to describe an internal experience of intellectual phoniness and people who believe that they are not intelligent, that they're not capable or creative, despite evidence of high achievement. So you've received all the accolades, you have all the degrees, you have the letters after your name, and you still feel like you're not enough. You still feel like you're just not enough. So to put it simpler, imposter syndrome is the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough and that you're fake and on the verge of being found out. It's a feeling that you don't belong here, wherever you are. So friends, this is not just in the workplace. It could be in your friend group. It could be in the classroom. It could be in the boardroom. It doesn't matter. You just feel like you're not qualified enough. So Dr. G, I want you to jump in and explain how, if people can't relate to the term imposter syndrome, give them some terms that they can relate to, because again, 70% of professionals feel this, my friends, 70%. So the feeling you have, you're not alone. But Dr. G, give them some terms that they may resonate with, because they weren't calling it imposter syndrome. Right. They've been calling it something else.
Yeah. Right. So I like interaction. So when I start talking about some of these terms and describing them, if it resonates to you, I want you to hit your hearts, hit your thumbs up. I want you to kind of let us know if you're feeling what we're saying, okay, right? So the first one, I want to know how many of you all have this sometimes you feel like you have to oversee all the components within your projects, or you have this notion that everything has to be exactly perfect before it can be finished, right? So you have to complete it. Or do you have a difficult time, letting other people help you, right? You have a difficult time delegating. If you're related, if that relates to you, type in the comments, give me some likes or some hearts.
Yes.
Because that is what is called the perfectionist, right? So when I talk about these, so we have imposter syndrome, we're going to kind of say that these are symptoms, right? These are symptoms, if that helps you to connect to it. And I know for myself, in the past, there were times that I wanted everything to be right. And I know that Nicole's about to laugh, because for the longest, right, I was like, no, I don't want to start my business, or no, I don't want to have my website, because I wanted it to be perfect.
Perfect.
Right. I wanted that rollout to be perfect. Did you have that too? Did you have that feeling, Rachel, at all? Or
yes. So listen, when you go through like the people and who that is, I have like 3 of these symptoms, and I'll let you go ahead and talk and what you want to do. But that perfectionist is high on that brink. Like the website has to be right, all the colors have to be right, the fonts have to be right, how we lay it out has to be right, all of those things. And if it's not right or it's not done perfectly, then we stop.
You won't execute.
Further and further behind in our goals and what it is that we want to do. And what happens? It keeps us broke.
And
Broke.
time just
Broke.
keeps on passing.
Broke.
Exactly. So because we're sitting here and we're waiting for everything to be right, one of my girlfriends told me, just start. And she knows who she is, Miss Nicole Smith.
Just go. And the reason,
Start.
just start, just go. This is where 80% there, go. Because here's the thing, we keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting, and we never execute. You know, how many of us out there just want to keep learning and be a sponge? How about you be a filter?
Mm-hmm.
Be a
I like
filter.
I like that.
And taking the information you need, but go ahead and execute. I mean, guys, I have my own business coach. This is one of the things I talk about is executing. You have to execute. 80% go. The other 20% will fall into place. And friends, this is not just entrepreneurship. This is in the workplace, when you're on projects, when you're leading teams and so forth. You're gonna have to execute. Perfectionism, why are you striving for perfectionism? Strive for excellence instead. So, but Dr. G, go ahead and finish some of the other symptoms that some of us may feel.
Because I'm sick. I'm sick.
Sick too. And we continue to be sick, but we have hopefully some things that will help and remedy those
And that,
symptoms, right?
and that self-talk that I think Leslie was saying, that voice is loud. The self-talk is telling you, no, it has to be perfect. No, not yet. It has to be perfect. No.
Right.
You think that's perfect? You literally talk to yourself. We're so unkind to ourselves when we talk to ourselves.
Right.
So, but go ahead. I'll shut up now.
This is how we do. This is how we do, right? So the next one is the superwoman or the superman, right? Or if you're gender non-binary, the super person. Okay, because I believe in inclusive language, right? And so this is where you go the extra mile every time, right? That you sit here, you'll stay up late. I mean, for me, and I have this bad habit. And I know when I'm push myself too much. See, this it's a little spot right back here, right? And if my niece was here, she would say, Auntie Drew, why you keep rubbing your neck, right? Because that's when I know that I have pushed myself too much, where I want it to be just right, and I have to get it exactly, executed to perfection, and that regardless of how tired I am, even if I'm not trusting my words that I'm typing, I'm going to keep pushing. Or when you say, your friends invite you over and you know that you have something to do for work, that you sit here and say, oh yeah, I can make it, instead of allowing your body to rest a little bit, allowing your mind to rest, allowing you to get back in balance. So I know that also when it comes to the superwoman syndrome, right? It's where you feel like you're leaving your hobbies and your passions and you're putting them on the back burner because you're putting work first. Okay. And that's huge for a lot of us. I know for me, it took me a long time to gain the confidence because I was so focused on my day job, right? And my business coach, she'll constantly say, do you want to do this part-time or full-time, right? And I'm just like, no, I still care about work, but you can't do it all.
You gotta balance.
Right? You have to have that balance, and it's, or harmony.
Well, one thing I want to point out too, in the Black culture, especially us Black women, there is this superwoman syndrome, that the superwoman, we have to struggle. And we have to, take it all on like a badge of honor, because I'm a superwoman. I mean, there's a song out there,
Well, you're not a strong Black woman unless you're doing it, unless you're doing all of it. You're balancing work, you're balancing being a wife, you're balancing being a mom, you're balancing cooking, cleaning, the best dishes, the best friend, everything, and encompassing in one. And if you're not doing those things, you're not that superwoman and you're considered less than. So I'm glad
it's terrible that people, it's so terrible when people shame women, or make Black women feel like they're not doing enough because they're not living up to someone else's perception or standards of this superwoman.
Yes.
They're not fulfilling the symptom of superwomen of being a superwoman when it comes to imposter syndrome. And I just hope that, any of you all that are out there, if within the past, few days, a week, or even yourself, right? If you have put that pressure on yourself or someone else, forgive yourself right now.
Yes.
Forgive yourself and, apologize to whoever you did that to, because it is really, really, really critical. And it's something that it's just not healthy, because physiologically, we know Black women have higher rates of so many different conditions, diseases, illnesses, right? So this superwoman also could lead to strokes.
Yep.
Also could lead to heart attacks.
Yep.
Also could lead to mental, where you're not mentally well, right? Or emotionally well and stable. So, if you have put that pressure on yourself as superwoman, hug yourself right now and say, you know what, I'm sorry, homegirl. Tomorrow's a new day. We're going to start this afresh, okay?
Yep.
Smooches, like, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, right?
Everybody right now, just blow a kiss at yourself.
Kiss yourself. Hug yourself. Hug yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So Candace J, hey Candace, my sis. She says strong Black woman is not a compliment for me. Call me resilient. Amen. I'm resilient. Yes. So you don't have to call me a strong Black woman. I don't need a cape and so forth. So I give myself permission to be resilient. I give myself permission to know my limits. Ooh, that's a good one. To know my limits, So yeah, absolutely. One more symptom, Dr. G. Do we have one more symptom?
Yes. I don't know. One, or you want me to just go through all of them?
Give one more, because there's some other good stuff that we're going to go through as well.
Okay, so I'm going to jump to the expert. Ooh. Okay. And I think because this resonates with me so much, right? And I don't know if other people out there, we are all three highly educated women, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you have a certain level of education, you feel this pressure, or other people, society puts this pressure on you where you feel like you have to be the expert all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And if any of my former students are out there, they'll know I'll say, look, I don't know everything. And I will tell you when I don't know something. Mm-hmm. But for a long time, I felt like I had to always be on my A game. I had to do my research before I went to these meetings, because I was so afraid to say something in error. Right. Oh, gosh, don't let me say something wrong, or, that's going to eliminate me from, this, or have a detrimental effect on something else. Or even when I'm having a conversation with a potential client right now, right? I don't feel that I need to be an expert in everything, but I know what I need to be an expert in, and it's my business, right? I need to be an expert in what I can offer and the services that I can provide, but I don't have to be an expert in everything. And it took me a long time to really deal with that particular symptom of being an expert, because so much of my life was about being a scholar and being an expert. Right?
But also too, it's that in the workplace, we have to continuously, again, I'm going back to my Black brothers and sisters. There's a feeling, because if we're going to talk about two friends where imposter syndrome, what it is, but also too, it affects women. And then it affects the Black culture even heavier, but especially Black women. So you'll hear me hint around in regards, or give facts in regards to just the Black culture. But with this, the expert, we have to be 100% on our shit. Don't grab your pearls, because we have to show them that we know what we're talking about. We have to continuously slide our credentials across the table to say, no, listen to me, or as my shirt says, I'm speaking. Okay. So we can't shake that notion that we're not just as capable, and someone will say something, or we will be dismissed, to where we then get that self-talk and that self-doubt of, okay, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. That's imposter syndrome, my friends. It's someone bringing in that self-doubt and you holding on to that. So then what do, Dr. G? We go back and we try to continuously be the expert in whatever, to continuously prove that we know what we're talking about. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Trust me. So yeah, the expert, and I'm seeing other people saying yes, the number one fear is taking that leap. So yeah, so somebody said, can you be all three? Absolutely. You can be
Yes.
all three. I know, right? Rachel, raise your hands.
I told y'all I am
Wednesday?
sick because I have like, and there was another one that that we didn't get to, but even with being the soloist, is
Go ahead.
when you're doing everything yourself and you want to do it yourself because then you know that it's right.
Right.
And that's where that perfectionist comes from as well. So those two tied together, being the expert, well, the reason why we're feeling like or wanting to be the smartest person in the room is because what is the saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room type thing, so that you can learn from other people.
Right.
But it's like with this syndrome, you're constantly thinking you're not enough to even be in this room. So you go to school, you get all these degrees, and just to prove to yourself that you can do it. Mm-hmm. And not only are you proving it to yourself, you're trying to prove it to society, because society is telling you that you're not enough, especially as women of color, that we're not enough. And so that's where I believe that some of this imposter syndrome is coming in as well.
Absolutely. So let's talk about how childhood experience. You know, some people ask, well, Nicole, how did you know you had imposter syndrome, that you felt it? And they go from life experiences, from what? And I say, oh, it starts back in childhood. And I want us to talk about how, and this is going to resonate with some of you, how in childhood, the imposter syndrome seed was planted from childhood experiences. And Rachel, I think you said you had a great example or childhood experience. So
yes. So I have a couple of them. So my stepmom always told me that when I am out and about to always be camera ready. Like, you're saying this to a teen, and although she means well, being camera ready is always being on your A game. You're not walking out the house with your bonnet and your scarf on. You don't have to have on a full face of makeup, but at least your eyebrows are done. You have on lip gloss. You're not wearing, baggy and saggy clothes, that you actually cared about yourself when you left the house today. Right. You never know, like, the purpose of her saying this is because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what connections you're going to make, who you're going to see, whatever. And so that has taken over from childhood all the way to adulthood, and I'm passing it on to my daughter. Mm-hmm. So it's a constant cycle of a thing that you believe, and you implement this in your life like every day. Yeah. So it's that. Another thing is just watching how you speak, how you talk, how you treat people, things like that. And it's just something that's a cycle that's really never going to stop or end. And it starts with our parents and how they're raising us and what they're saying.
Yes. And so, now how we're talking to our children, because I had, my mom was the same way. You're not going to leave the house looking a certain way. Now, we didn't always have to, makeup or at least have your eyelashes on. But I want to say I want to say at least when COVID started, I mean, it's like, the makeup decreased tremendous. It's like, who am I looking fab for, So, and just knowing that my natural self without all that is enough. Yes. Is enough, that's good enough to be accepted. But here's an example, my friends, from childhood. Mm-hmm. Let's say anyone raise their hand and they say in the chat or say, yes, that was me. Growing up, when you made a 95 on a test and you came home and you were all excited. I made a 95 on a test. Yay. And your parents said, well, why didn't you make 100? Yes. And so that just, again, 95, even though it was an A, wasn't enough. So then what did we have to strive for? Perfection. 100 was perfection. Okay. Mm-hmm. Not saying, oh, well, great job, let's celebrate the 95 that you got. It was like, yeah, well, why didn't you make 100? So little things like that we do with our children. can plant that seed for imposter syndrome of just not being enough. And one of the things that in our households, again, relating it back to the Black culture, our households, culturally speaking, it wasn't households where we got praised for all of the great things and talents that we did. You know, hey, I can sing. Well, can I go take some singing lessons? Can't afford that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, you need to sing. You can go sing in the bathroom. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that the talents and skill sets that you have wasn't praised, however you want to praise it or just highlight it, it travels with you. And we put it into our now households of not celebrating those small wins. It's like in my coaching practice, I say, celebrate those small wins. That's one of the ways to overcome imposter syndrome is to celebrate your small wins. Celebrate when good things happen. Go back and look at your achievements and your accomplishments and say, I am a badass.
Yes.
I mean, it's just something that you have to say. Write it down on a piece of paper. I am a badass. I mean, I think there's a book out there that says, I am a badass.
And it's a great book.
It is. Celebrate yourself. And we need to stop perpetuating that cycle, in our children. I think my sister, I believe, is doing a wonderful job with my niece, Callie, where she's speaking to her different, encouraging her differently. I mean, she's a child. She's exploring, when she does wrong and you don't want to carry that behavior, then let her know. No, we don't want to do that. But when she meets those milestones and do great things, speak that kindness. Speak that kindness. So celebrate those wins. We celebrate everybody else's wins.
Yeah.
Except our own.
Except our own.
Not our own.
And there's this weird thing of, I'm being humble about it. Being humble does not mean you don't celebrate yourself. Yeah. So that humbling definition, we'll do another webinar on that, because humble does not mean you don't celebrate your accomplishments.
Right. Exactly.
You
work hard. You work hard to be where you are. Why are you not celebrating that? Because you're looking as if you're being boastful or you're bragging, or you think, what is that phrase? If you think you're all that and whatever else. I am all that.
Yes.
I've achieved a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. Dr. G, shout out to even your lipstick, fabulous with a Ph.D. You know what I'm saying? Like, why aren't we celebrating that? Nicole, you're speaking in front of women, 300 plus guests, thousands of people.
Tomorrow will be a global stage. Yes.
Exactly. On the global stage. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about.
But here's the thing. I am so grateful. And I'm so blessed. And I am appreciative of everyone that has helped me get to where I am, and I am humble.
Right.
But gosh darn, I'm gonna celebrate when I'm
that chick.
So and this is where I want all my sisters and even my brothers. When we do fabulous stuff, we need to celebrate it. So then everyone knows our talents and our skills. Right. Because, for instance, CEO from Wells Fargo saying he can't find Black talent. Excuse me.
I don't believe that.
I'll help you find a Black talent.
Yeah, bring me into your recruiting department and let me tell you some recruiting strategies I can put in place to help that. But my point is that we are out there, and sometimes I want to say, okay, here's another permission. I give myself permission to toot my own horn. I give myself permission to celebrate my wins. All right, so let's just do this.
And not only that, when you celebrate your own wins, and it's people would tell me all the time, you do really good things. You're always doing stuff. And one of my mentors told me years ago, not only do you celebrate yourself, but you do not know that when someone else recognizes what you've accomplished, how that will inspire that person. Right. And you never know who's watching you. You never know who's paying attention to you. And so, while we're doing what we're doing, and it's just our normal stride or our path, right? We don't know someone watching us how that can help them to overcome this imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Right, that they have this is a self-ethnic reflector, right? They see something, like they see a woman, they see a Black person, they see a mom, they see a wife, they see a aunt, what have you. If they can do it, perhaps I can do it as well, right? And so, that's something I always keep in mind about the celebrations, that like you, I thank God every day for the things the opportunities that I have, the blessings I received, and I praise him in advance for the ones that I will receive in the future. Hallelujah, right?
Yes.
But I want people to see that, I don't just do this for me, right? It's a bigger purpose. And I think that helps other people to tap into whatever is inside of them that's waiting to be unleashed, to come out, to give birth to whatever, and help them to overcome that imposter syndrome.
Yeah. So if my friends out there that are in the workplace and you feel that your optimism and your energetic soul is fading into self-doubt, do you find yourself questioning? See, that's where I was when I was in the corporate world. I was second guessing myself like every day. And because I was either dismissed or I was overlooked or overtalked, or, I was asked a question, but then another person decided they wanted to jump in and answer, or I was always told I was a good hire. What does that mean? But they didn't know what to do with me. So it's like, okay, I get to a certain level in the corporate world, and I was literally at that ceiling. And so that's the ache that you feel if you have any of these symptoms, that perfectionism, you need to let that go. Yeah. Here's the thing with perfectionism: you don't allow grace and mercy for your mistakes. When you strive for excellence, you have grace and mercy for your mistakes. You give grace and mercy for other people's mistakes. Right. Why don't you give grace and mercy to yourself? This is where I say we're so unkind to ourselves. So that self-talk, and this is where I have literally sat in a boardroom and someone said, Nicole, are you sure? And I had this courage. Oh my gosh. It was this courage just came out of me. And I said, I'm 120% sure. And if you have any more questions, I'll help you on those as well. And I was like, did I just say that? Yeah. But I was tired of being overlooked, and that self-doubt and that imposter syndrome setting into where I felt like I just had to continuously slide my credentials, and kept sliding them to the point where I was just like, I'm done. I was so defeated. There was times in the workplace I was so defeated, but there's things that we can do to get over that. And we're gonna talk about those as well. So let's move into the other piece we're going to talk about: imposter syndrome and women. just women. So we said 70% professionals feel it. Majority of the feel it are women. But we can talk about women, but specifically how imposter syndrome is worse for women of color, and how imposter syndrome and racial discrimination work hand in hand to tear down our self-esteem and our mental health. And I see Rachel, I see your face. Like, so why else, besides some of the obvious reasons, what are some of the experiences that you have felt just as a Black woman? Because not only is this imposter syndrome, we're talking to ourselves, but we have others that are feeding into it as well within society.
Right. So it's interesting that you talk about that. And it's a great segue because we were talking about corporate America. And before I actually left corporate America to do the current business that I have full time with my husband, I, was a new person and just getting out of college and thinking that I can conquer the world, right? Highest sales rep, because it's that superwoman. You wanted to be the best at everything. Sold the highest in the history of all of the company, to the point where they had to change the commission structure of the way that they paid me out. They had to change the commission structure to pay me over 2 years, because that one sale, they had to change it. Okay. So
you set the bar up. You passed the
at
bar. So then they had to move the bar again.
At the bar. Okay.
All right.
So I'm wanting this job, this director's job, because I know exactly what it takes. I can train the team to do the same exact thing that I just done to bring more money to this billion-dollar company, right? I was completely overlooked for this job. I was crushed. What do you mean? I've sold not just one account, but several accounts for this company, given my all. You've paid for the master's degree. This is tuition reimbursement, whatever have you. Like, I am the highest person in this specific department. How is it that someone who does not know anything about the job at all get it? And have he lived in Minnesota. This was in Wisconsin. He lived in Minnesota. They had put him in a hotel, gave him a car, all the stuff that you have to pay for someone who doesn't even know the job and the industry. And then you call me in the room and ask me to train him. Excuse me.
Okay. Comment in Facebook. How many of you guys have trained people in the position you wanted?
Maybe.
Yes.
No, this is when I had gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, it's time for me to leave and to do what God has blessed me to do. And so that's when I decided to come on full time with my husband and do what we have now. And so we went from having 8 children or 8 families to over 200 families in our company that we service day by day. Now, inside of that, because I'm constantly listening to these things, I'm like, wait a minute, am I good enough? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? If I don't have the steady flow or income coming in, everything is going to come crashing down. My children are not going to be in the school that they're in now. I'm not going to be able to pay for this, pay for that. Oh my gosh, my car, my house. Like, you start to tell yourself all of these things that you can't do rather than what you can do. And those thoughts become actions, they become words, and you have to start letting that go. Once I let that go and stop speaking that and saying all of that negativity to myself, that's when I started to grow from within, and whatever grows within comes without.
Yes.
All right. And if I can do it, you can do it too. And that's why I wanted to start coaching. And I talked to you about this, Nicole, too, about how to train women to do the exact same thing. Right. And we're constantly doing this. So as Black women, society and corporate America, Instagram, so all the social media, people, when we're going to these mixers and we're meeting with other people, and these women have credentials like you two ladies. I'm not a doctor, Dr. G.
I'm not either.
I'm not meeting with thousands of people, but guess what? I've had a business for 18 years.
Absolutely.
I purchased a home, my dream home with my husband. I have multiple, whatever. I can write my own ticket. Right. This is when you start looking at yourself and seeing the positivity of what you actually have, and stop looking at what the next person has and then constantly tell yourself what you can't do, what you don't have, because her journey is her journey. Your journey is your journey. Right. Walk it.
Walk it. So it's everyone has been blessed with talents and skill sets and so forth.
Yes.
Think about what you can do. Where society, you made a good point in regards to social media. It's, we have this common occurrence of feeling like the other, like we're not good enough. And friends, this stems from not just, in the workplace, it comes from in the stores that we go to and we're followed around by security. It's echoed by the current leader of our country that we just, we're not enough. We don't belong. And the people that support him, it occurs every time we turn on the TV, we open a book, we watch certain shows and do anything, anything that's not what they call normal, it plays into that imposter syndrome of us telling ourselves that we're not good enough because we're having confirmation around us that we are not enough. So this is where, you know, we have to constantly work. I mean, literally, and this is, I hope some people recognize with this, you have to work on your mindset. You literally have to do mindset work every day, you know.
Absolutely.
To constantly tell yourself what you can do and what you can accomplish. And the only person you're competing against is yourself.
That's right.
You're beating yourself up, constantly telling yourself what you can't do. And, you know, I'm a big fan of law of awareness, or law of attraction, as some people call it. And our brain is so malleable. We can sit here and have such a fantastic day. And then 5-10 minutes of that day, something bad happens or pisses us off, and we allow it to then play into that imposter syndrome of I'm not enough, I can't, I should be doing, how can I do, what if, why not, da da da, and we start playing it. So I hope you see, friends, how imposter syndrome, how it's not just feeling like you might be called out as a fraud. No, it goes way deeper than that. And a lot, now you see why, yes, I've actually been feeling this way. So those experiences as a Black female, as a female, but especially as a Black female, plays hard into us trying to, I think somebody said, Selena, you had said the bar, we meet the bar, then the bar changes.
Yeah.
And we have to try to meet that bar, and then the bar changes. So it keeps playing into that. Mindset is everything. Yes, Vanessa, my aunt Vanessa. Yes, mindset is everything. So Dr. G, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to also speak to this, and I know I'm anticipating the thumbs up and the hearts right now with what I'm about to say, because I'm gonna just keep it 100. Okay. The crabs in a barrel phenomena,
yes,
plays a huge part in Black women in feeling the symptoms of imposter syndrome.
Yes.
At least it has for me, in my experiences, multiple experiences. Look, they're going crazy over there, right? With the hearts and lights. But you know, for me, it has been quite challenging, and I've spoken with both of you all about this. I started out early, chronologically, like my age, right? I started out way early, and I've done things that typically some people would not even imagine. I didn't even imagine it, right? I didn't like wake up and say, you know what, I was gonna do this by this date, age, and this by this, and it just happened, right? And but for some people, like they can't take it. Like Rachel, they couldn't take you. Closing that deal where they had to reconfigure how they were going to pay you. They couldn't handle that. Right. They could not handle that. And so over time, one of the things that has helped me, and shout out to one of my besties, Dr. Nina, beautiful brown baby doll. She has this thing where she says, you know, you have to do translation exercises every day. And I was like, what you talking about, translation exercises? Yeah.
Explain.
She would say, okay, so and so says this to you, right? You have to really stop and say, so they said this, but they actually mean this. So I'm not gonna sweat it. I'm not gonna let that ruin my day. Like Nicole talked about, you know, something happens and somebody says something and it pisses you off.
Like microaggression.
I need to translate that. I need to change that mindset, right? Okay. And for example, you like that nose ring? Right? Translation. I wish I was confident enough to wear a nose ring.
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding.
Dang, you know, it's such a beautiful accessory. Like I had to sit here.
Yes.
Oh, that short blonde hair, right? Yeah. I had to train myself, right? When I hear things and people try to get into my head, I gotta, like you said, that filter. I gotta run you through my translator.
Wait, okay. So Michelle says replacement phrases. I like that. That
I like that too.
What do you really mean? Because when you phrase things as such, you're really trying to project onto them that you couldn't be courageous enough or brave enough
to do this.
to do that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and shout out to Michelle, and shout out to my sisters. Both of my sisters are on, and my sister-in-law, and my cousins. Like, I love y'all. I just had to say that. I just saw that Deandra, Naila, Brittany, Kia, Kaya, excuse me.
The whole family.
Some of our sorority sisters. And Rachel's a soror too. Hey girl, hey.
So with Black women, it might be triggered by feeling like you're the other in predominantly white spaces or exclusive spaces. And one thing while you were talking, sometimes you can look at some of the things that people say as microaggressions. You know, microaggression in the workplace. Oh, you speak so well. Like they're shocked that you speak well. I'm sure some of us have had that. Oh, you articulate so well, or
you have an accent.
Huh?
You have an accent.
You or mine was you don't have an accent when you speak. Yeah.
I was gonna say that would be mine, is that I don't have the accent.
Yes. Or one of the things, and I'm sure my beautiful sisters on Facebook can say, you know, you're very pretty for a Black girl. I've gotten that. I got that mainly in college, you know, like, and again, it plays into that imposter syndrome that Black women aren't supposed to be beautiful, but you know what? God did an extra dose on you or something. I don't know. I mean, really, that's just how it's like, how am I supposed to take that? So I actually have a sweatshirt that says pretty period, just done. But those are those type of things, those microaggressions that people say in the workplace to you, or those phrases you have to translate or do replacement that play into that in that imposter syndrome. Because for people of color, imposter syndrome isn't just an imaginary voice in our head. It's not just you talking, you know, negatively to yourself. We receive daily messages from society that we don't truly belong. So let's talk about how some of the ways that we can deal with, you know, imposter syndrome. So I think we might be ready for that. Or hold on, I'm looking at you're so well spoken, you so smart, you don't talk like a Black girl. Yes. So you get some of those things. I've actually had where I was a consultant for a human capital management agency firm, and I would go to the actual companies to implement their systems, like how you pay on payroll, benefits, and all that stuff, human resources. And I remember walking in, and the CEO, I was sitting in the lobby, and he walked in and he said, "I'm looking for Nicole Smith." And I was sitting there and I was like, "Yep, that's me." And he was like, you don't look like how you sound on the phone. And how's that? So it's, yeah, those little microaggressions and so forth. And then as I was going through, I'll never forget this, as I was going through the project, he kept telling me how smart I was. You're so smart. You're so smart. It's like he had to validate for me. And so this is those little microaggressions. So you gotta, almost like a unicorn. Yeah. So sometimes you gotta watch, you know, those microaggressions and so forth. But I have some methods of how to get over it, but I would love to hear how you two personally helped overcome your imposter syndrome. Because also too, I want people to know when I say overcome it, let me make sure you understand it's a journey. Okay. It's not, okay, well, I'm going to do some affirmations for a week and I'll be good. I'm over it. No, it's work, mindset work, mindset shift, changing your perspective. Also too, my friends, it's you being courageous. Okay. Courage over comfort. You got to choose one. You can't have both. Okay. So courage over versus comfort. And you are going to have to be vulnerable. And where that vulnerability comes in, what I'm talking about is expressing your emotions. Now, I'm not talking about go off the handle. I want you to respond appropriately to things that come your way versus reacting irrationally. Okay, there's a big difference. Right. So this is where we're going to talk about some methods in regards to that has helped us, but also to some methods that actual psychologists and so forth have given. So I can start off with one. one of my methods, what I do in regards to my coaching practice and so forth, is I'm really big about mindset work. And with that, it's affirmations. And in the mornings before I get started, I say my affirmations, but also to, prayer and meditation, just, giving myself permission to receive whatever the universe is going to give me today. Okay. Giving myself permission to be great. I am enough. Doing whatever affirmations that get you going, and whatever prayer and meditation that you have to do to begin your day. Don't do it when the situation happens. You got to do it in the beginning of the day. So I kicked it off with there. Rachel, do you have experience or methods that you've done to help you get through your imposter syndrome feelings?
Absolutely. So do you want us to list them, or just one?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
So a couple that I do is same thing that you were saying about the mindset, and just really being gentle with yourself. Mm-hmm. You should be your number one cheerleader. Stop downing yourself. Like I said earlier, those words and those thoughts become your actions. Tell yourself what you can do. Do not just say that you're a badass. Please excuse my language for professionals on here. Do not say that.
Leaders cuss too.
Right. That you're a badass only when you're listening to Beyonce. This should be at all times. This should be your attitude. This should be your daily focus every day. I am bad. I am great at everything that I do. And give yourself permission to be just that, to be awesome. Mm-hmm. Also, having conversations like this. I know that I like to joke around. I like to have fun. I like to lighten the mood in everything that I'm doing. But having conversations with women like you helps to solidify myself and who I am in the room and in the skin that I'm in. Yes. It's okay to be you and who you are. Be just that. It's only one of you. You can't be duplicated. Nobody can be who you are. Be that. And you only live one time in one lifetime. Mm-hmm. What legacy are you going to leave behind? The person that's always in the corner that says, well, I think that I'm okay. I'm this, I'm that. I don't know. I'm not enough. Or are you the person that people remember? What do they say about you once you leave that room? So those are the types of things I'd like to say to myself, and I prove things to myself. I don't go to read a book or to get certifications or degrees or whatever to please or to appease anybody else. It's just for me and myself. Mm-hmm. What I'm doing for me. And finally, that prayer life. So shout out to my mom, my aunts, my grandma, my whole family that always says to me, Rachel, be anxious for nothing. Mm-hmm. And instead pray for everything. Right. You read that to yourself every day. You're driving, you're in a shower, your text messages, whatever. Yeah. You just that and live by it. Right. That's what I do.
That's fantastic. It's like I posted something on LinkedIn yesterday that said, don't adapt to the energy in the room, influence the energy in the room. And so to your point, Rachel, you had a comment that said you light up the room and your presence commands attention. And it does, Rachel, when you walk in a room, you command attention. And that's where you influence the energy in the room, and knowing that you are enough. And I can't say enough. One of the things that you said, I have a Post-it note on my wall that says, how to shake a belief is prove it wrong in reality. That's right. So you have to remove those limiting beliefs. First of all, why are you living in this BS?
Right.
Your belief system. Mm-hmm. Why are you living with these limiting beliefs? Because that's the way they've always done it. That's the way I was raised. That's the way my mom did. That's the way my dad, that's the way this person, that's the way. Why are you doing that? I want to hear you say, as I would say, this is how I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to be in my role, my job, my life, my business, because this is how Nicole wants to do it. Absolutely. Not because that's how everyone else wants me to do it. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So Dr. G, what other ways personally have you done to help you?
A couple of things. Like you too, definitely prayer. God is my refuge, is my guide, and Yes, I love Jesus, God,
Yes.
everybody. Yep, I sure do.
Yes.
And shout out to Ebenezer United Church of Christ and Rehab Christian Center, because I am faithful in getting that nourishment for my soul and my spirit, because I need it. The other thing that I do, and I actually do this with my clients, and so I do boot camps, writing boot camps from time to time. And I start off and I have a envelope, right? And I have them to give them a blank card and an envelope, and I ask them to write a note to themselves, like how do they feel right now in this moment about where they are, their level of readiness, right? And so then I take the envelopes and their notes, right? I take that and tell them don't seal it, and I put one of these in there, right? So this is just a little card, right? And they're different cards, and it's something you can get off of Amazon. And I actually keep this on my desk.
Yes.
If any of my sorority sisters or my good girlfriends, they know I am the queen of sending cards. I still do send handwritten notes and cards. And I will slip one of these in, because there are going to be times where somebody's going to try you. Something will trigger you. It will take you back to something, because we're human, right? We're vulnerable human beings, and as tough as we try to be, and as stern and stable as we try to be, right? Things still can affect us and get to us. Like people look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're so confident," but you know what? My sisters will tell you I'm super sensitive.
Right.
I am extremely sensitive, right? So these are some of the reminders that I have. And I literally just at random, I'll pick one out. And it just so happened that I said, let me find this one, because Nicole just talked about courage, right?
Yes.
And so, little things like that, those are in addition to affirmations, right? So I'll say the affirmation, but these are things that I might just have scattered on my desk, right? I just might at random put three down on my desk, so that throughout the day, regardless of what happens in the Zoom meetings or what happens on a call or report, what have you, anytime I can look down and I can get something to help me get back to myself. So that's the first thing. The second thing, right? You need to be able to phone a friend, right?
Try.
So you have to have someone in your life. And I'm fortunate and thankful that I have so many. Right. Two of them are right here on this Zoom with me, right? I know that if there was ever a time that something happened and it just took me to this space, and I don't want to stay in that space, and I don't have these little cards, and I have prayed, and I have, my prayer beads, right? And I've done all that, but I'm still heated. I'm still not where I need to be to push through and not let this affect my day. Right? Not let this affect my week in a negative way. I need to be able to phone a friend. I need to be able to text somebody. I need to be able to say, hey girl, look, I need 30 seconds. Look, get me back to reality. Help me out, because I'm in a space right now that I don't want to stay in. And I know it's not healthy for me to stay in. And I love you. And I know that you love me enough, right? That you're going to help me get out of this space so I can go back to my business. Right. So I can go back and do the work. I can go back and do God's work.
Right.
Okay. So you have to have somebody where you can phone a friend. The next thing, regularly review your receipts. Hear me out. If you're not updating and reviewing your resume or your CV monthly, I need you to start. I need you to start, because this is something that, I was going through the motions and I was doing all of this stuff. And some of y'all that's on this call, on the live, you'll be like, yeah, Dr. Alston, she do a whole lot. She's done this, she's done that.
Yes.
I didn't realize all that I was doing when I was in the motion of it. And so when I would hear this outside external talk, right, and have this self-doubt, I was forgetting that, no, I have receipts.
Yes.
Like, check my receipts, boo. I'm done X, Y, and Z. I have this experience.
Yes.
I'm able and I'm competent to do this.
Yes.
And I know that I am. Like Nicole said, no, your receipts will help you to say, you know what, I'm 150% sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Without hesitation. So review your receipts regularly. Be prepared to say, well, I actually have experience in that. And I can give you examples of when I've done that and I've done it well.
Yes.
And this was the outcome of my efforts, right?
Yes.
The two more things I'm gonna be quiet because I'm feeling it, Nicole. I'm feeling it. Right
go ahead, girl. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. Yes.
It's about to flow out. It's about to flow out. The other thing, you know, for the first time, I would say maybe a few months ago, I actually spoke up and volunteered for extra work.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's one of my method things. Okay, go ahead. Talk on that.
Well, you want me to save it, or you want me?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
You know, I have been working with this awesome business coach, Nicole Smith, right, for a few months now. And so it had me to really think about, what do I want next, you know, for my next? What does my next look like? And how do I need to position myself? And then I have another good friend. I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to bring attention to her. She's a mentor, someone I really is inspirational to me. But she talked about, hurry up and identify your skills gap.
Yes.
And you might be good at this, but this is your skills gap before you get to your next. So what do you need to do in between time, in the meantime, right? And address this skills gap. And so I said, well, I don't know what got into me. I was in this meeting and I was like, you know what? They were like, well, anybody want to volunteer? And I said, yep, I do, because I have goals and aspirations. And I feel like this particular experience will help me get in, help me to develop and close my skills gap that I have so that I can get to my next. And I said that in a meeting, and I was like,
you looked around.
Did I just have an out of body experience? Like, did I just say that?
Yes.
Because when I let imposter syndrome take over and set in, I would have never said that.
Yes.
Right. Yes. I would have never had the courage to say that.
Mm-hmm. And
right, and step out of my comfort zone. Right. I would have never done that. So, you know, because the worst thing they could have said is no, or the worst thing that could have happened is somebody else was voted to do the work or whatever, you know, if you play into, you know, implement Robert's rules of order. But I mean, I was so proud of myself. And I think about how that one moment potentially could have set a whole new direction for my next.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever that is. And then the last thing, Nicole, and then I'm gonna be quiet. The one thing, and it took me a very long time to get to this space, y'all. A very, very
journey.
Long time.
It's a journey.
The one thing that I tell myself daily is that no one else validates me.
That's right.
Yes, I have metrics that I have to meet as far as performance, but that doesn't validate me as a person. That doesn't validate me as a Black woman.
Yes.
Right? That doesn't validate Geleana Drew Alston. Right. And I have to remind myself, because like I said, there are people, and you mentioned this, we have constant signals, constant things that are coming to us every day, whether it's through imagery in the media, social media, conversations, you know, with your colleagues, your friends, your family, your neighbors, whoever, and even people who don't even know you, right? People who just have this assumption about you. They, you know, they want to put their 2 cents in. And I had to get to the place where I was like, you know what? People talk about you before you're born. They talk about you while you're living. They're going to talk about you after you pass away. So you know what? No one validates me. I know who I serve. I know who I belong to, right? And so as long as I'm doing what I feel is that purpose for my life, it's just noise.
It's just noise.
It's just noise.
And so those all wonderful. I mean, I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, friends, if you didn't gain a nugget from both of them, you must have had your like ears closed. But I want to share, I had a couple of notes from, you know, my friends that are in the workplace. What are some methods that you can actually apply tomorrow? Like you can, all this you can, you know, affirmations and prayer. Yes, you can start some of that tomorrow. Phone a friend tonight if you need to. Okay, you can do that. But also too, you know, this is where I'm saying, I heard someone last week say, if we want the role or the seat at the table. We need to go for it because we continually have this belief or that imposter syndrome, that voice that says, no, 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 who do you think you are? Why do you think you can do that? Do know my females, my sisters, that men are 60% ready to do whatever that next role is. The other 40%, they're learning it. It's like building a plane as it goes up in the air. Women, what we do is we wait to be 101% ready for that next role because we're talking to ourselves. We have to be perfect to do that next role. So here it is, my sis, my female friends, my friends here, okay, be about 75% ready for that next role. The other percentage is just opportunities for you to grow, okay? You have opportunity to learn whatever else is needed in that role. Do you think everybody that goes into a new role or a new project or even start a new business, they know 100% of everything? This is what we were talking about before, being ready to execute. You're going to have to execute. You're going to have to go. So when you're sitting at work, you have a great idea. Speak up, give that great idea, okay? Because you're going to kick yourself later for not having that idea because someone else, another colleague is going to say it. Okay. So you need to speak up, be brave. Okay. Hold on. I pulled out my little cards. We need to be brave. Okay. And you need to speak up. All they can tell you is no.
Right.
And then if you're even braver, say, well, explain to me why not. Mm-hmm. See, I'm that girl. Okay. Another, I have some notes here because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. You know, we tend to underestimate our abilities because we think our skills are not a big deal. Like Dr. G said, get your receipts, look at your resume, look at what you accomplished. Have a brag sheet. Have a brag sheet. Write down everything you've accomplished, numbers and all, my friends, numbers and all. Because you can also go to that brag sheet and your receipt and review it once a month, Dr. G, you said? Once a month?
At least once a month, but if
review
you're on your game, you update it twice a month, okay?
Yes, and so make sure you do that. So volunteer for assignments, as Dr. G has said, outside of the team. If your team is not giving you love, if there's other opportunities for you to find that fulfillment and find your purpose, it could be community service, it could be within an organization and you're doing another project for another team if you have that opportunity. So make sure you find something to fill your heart and let you know that you are using the talent and skill set that you have, that you are doing good, you're doing greatness. Don't fly under the radar. And what I'm going to say is don't let your office environment erode your confidence. Okay. I want you to be bold. Rachel, you said this, and comfortable in your own skin. Okay. Don't let people take your ideas. Yeah. All right. This is where you have to speak up and own your ideas and be comfortable in your own skin. And like I said, you want to influence that energy in the room. So your self-worth also too comes from learning about your history. So don't only look at your receipts, look at the freaking receipts of our culture, especially as Black women. Hello, my VP looks like me.
Right.
Okay. My VP, yes, looks like me and I'm speaking. Exactly. Okay. So look at our history. Look at all that we have accomplished, especially my Black sisters. Look at what we have accomplished. Okay. We have done some dynamic things. Okay. We've carried democracy on our backs. All right. So continue to use your talents and skill set. And knowing who you are allows you to stand against those who try to tell you what you are not. Yes. I coach on self-awareness. I need you to understand who you are and the badass that you are and what you bring to the table. That voice is going to talk. No. Think about it this way, my friends. What would you tell your younger self? Mm-hmm. Rachel, Dr. G, would you allow anyone to talk unkind to a younger you? No?
No.
So just think about that for a second. Where would you sit back and go, what would you tell yourself? I actually did that exercise with someone saying, you know, how would you talk to your younger self? What would you tell her? Okay, what would you tell that younger self? Would you be ugly? Okay, so this self-awareness, understand who you are, what makes you tick, be grounded in your values, know your values, be grounded in your values, because that'll just help you be more self-aware and handle that self-talk, that self-doubt that comes to you, but also too when it comes from other external forces. Also too, this is a big one for me. When you're working on projects and you are presenting, okay, when you're telling people about yourself, use I statements. I created the, Dr. G, did it hit you? I created the, I worked with the client too. Yes, you did that. It is true that there is no I in team. There isn't, but the deck isn't exactly all equal. So you need to use the word I in healthy doses.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know what's so crazy?
Be humble and do that too.
I have been criticized for using the I, and it's like, I'm not discounting that the team wasn't there or that I wasn't part of a team, but there are some certain things that, you know what? Yeah, I did that.
I did that.
I did.
Exactly.
You were
exactly.
that.
Yeah. So Rachel, even with you owning your daycare for 18 years. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
That food truck that you and your husband and your family, I did that.
Yeah, absolutely. In stilettos. Okay.
And so I did that. So this is where confidence takes courage. Okay. You can build up your kind. I hope tonight it helped build up people's confidence. We can't teach confidence, but we can help build confidence. So confidence takes courage. And so some of these tips may seem difficult. That's why I said it's a journey. It's a journey. All right. So I like to say, what if you didn't do anything? What if you didn't change anything? You just still sat with this imposter syndrome. Think about what the future would look like if you didn't do anything about it.
Right.
You didn't do anything about it because look, you'll try to go to another job and you're going to blame that job, the old job. You're just taking it with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're just taking it with you. So courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to go forward in spite of the fear.
Right.
All right. So, you know, I have a bunch of cards too. These are my affirmations. You can get these on Amazon. Rachel, you have yours?
I have some, but
yeah,
I won't go into full detail. But
I have so.
One of my sorors purchased this for me and sent it to me. These are actually
always okay.
You always, and there's certain Bible verses.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm feeling down and I need, some type of uplift or something, she who kneels before God can stand before anyone. Romans 8:31. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, rather in humility, values others above yourself. So that's Philippians 2:3. It's just certain things that I have to have around me with here and here.
Right.
And when they're Bible verses, that's when I know that it's real. And I know that God is speaking to me. And I'll just pray first. That last point that I was talking about, just changing your prayer life and believing that you can do it.
Yeah.
And don't be upset because other women are achieving their goals and what they're doing. Please don't do that. That's not cute.
That's not cute.
Don't do that because she's doing what she wants to do in her life. And that imposter syndrome is reaching her as well, but she knows how to suppress it by the points that Nicole and Dr. G and I have just discussed. She's doing those things. You need to do it too. So.
All right. We're going to end on that note. Dr. G, yeah. Rachel, my sisters, I love you. I adore you. This has been an amazing journey doing this. So now we have to decide what we're going to talk about next.
I know. What would y'all like what would y'all like for us to talk about? Put it in the comments.
I don't know. Put it in the comment section. What we can discuss. But also too, it was an idea that I had that came to fruition, and I am blessed and so grateful to have you ladies help me. And as Dr. G stated, phone a friend. This is where I too have a wonderful tribe that supports me, that cheers me on, that just and I don't know if there she is. There's my Roz. And it is real. Roz will tell me in a minute. Just do this. We're not doing that. I mean, just, it's love, but also to giving feedback in a way that helps your growth. So I have my tribe as well. And Dr. Jean, Rachel, you're part of that tribe as well. So just continue to encourage each other. Go Google more about imposter syndrome. And if anything, just the first thing you can do is just wake up tomorrow and just have a large amount of courage, okay? And just move forward. Just say your affirmations. Give yourself permission to be great. So ladies, thank you so much. I love you both.
Thank you. Love you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Can you feel your spine unwind? Watch the wild turn to wild. Ooh, shine